All right, 6.4, I guess part two, Lance. This looks, instead of more of the monomial stuff, we're gonna look into more of the expressions and like quadratics, okay? So today we're gonna have to bring back factoring, okay? So remember with factoring, we're looking for the factors of the last term that add up to the middle term. All right. So just to kind of review what we were doing yesterday, we had 5/14 divided by 25/8. Okay, Jake, we flip it. So we multiply by the reciprocal. So we do 5/14 times 8/25. And then what we would do is we would look at this stage for kind of common factors or things that could be simplified out. So 5 goes into 25 5 times. So that'd be 1 and 5. And then what goes into 8 and 14? Well, that's 2. So 2 goes into 8 4 times, and 2 goes into 14 7 times. So this would become 4/35. Caroline, are you okay with that? Ready, Hansi? All right. In the next problem, you can go now, Hansi. In the next problem, we have x plus 2 over 3 divided by x minus 2 over x. So we multiply by the reciprocal. So it's going to be x plus 2 divided by 3 times x divided by x minus 2. Now here, is there anything to cancel, Kaylin? No. So we would just multiply this out. So x times x plus 2 would be x squared plus 2x over 3x minus 6. Now I'll just kind of leave it like that. Okay. Lance, you good? How about them Phillies? It's a great game. Almost as good as the first game of the year. That was really good. Everybody hates them. It's like, yeah, they're just like, not a big fan of Dallas. So. All right. So then yesterday we moved into more of the problems like this. Now, here's a couple things to pay attention to, and I try to avoid it in WebAssign, which I did post today. All right. What I try to avoid is stuff like the denominator there. I don't really like it. I think it's just there to like trick you and not really there to help you out too much. But with a problem like this, what you need to pay attention to is that square. So 5x squared, that would be 25x squared. Because I have to do 5x times 5x. So 5 times 5 is 25, and x times x is x squared. The 4y cubed, nothing's really going on with that. Divided by, now on bottom, I have 2y squared, so it's 2y times 2y. That's going to be 4y squared over 10x cubed. Does everybody see how I went from this to this? Jake? Yeah. Thank you, Grantland. You good? All right. So now we do what, Julie? Multiply by the reciprocal. So we have 4y cubed over 25x squared times the reciprocal. So 4y squared is on bottom, 10x cubed is on top. Cody, what do you see? What's the same on top and bottom? The 4s. You said the y, which is right. This one has y squared, right? Y cubed, what would 1? So I'm just going to write just a y. Anything else? the x's, very good, same thing. This would cancel, and that would be a 1. Anything else? 5. All right. Now I just got to make sure I follow everything, like all my work. So the numbers on top, the 4 went away. I'm just left with that 2. I have 1x, so x to the first. I have the 1y there, so y to the first. And then on the bottom is just 5. So I could write it as 2xy over 5 or 2x to the first, y to the first. I prefer just that. Carolina, you okay? Justin, you okay? Isaac, you okay? Cool.
Where did you get the 2x?
10 and 25. What goes into 10 and 25? 2. Not 2, but 5, right? So 5 goes into 10 2 times, 5 goes into 5,
Oh, okay.
or 25 5 times. All right. Does this one look harder? Does it? No, it's very easy, right? All right, see if you guys can do this one. All right. See what you got. Who do you have for that? Ridley? And did you? Lance Winter next week. Again?
Because I need tomorrow.
You work for it?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me Lance was somewhat fast?
I don't run with. I do distance.
That's an excuse.
Did you get it?
I'll find out tomorrow. I run a mile and 2 miles. That's my first time doing it.
What's your mile time?
The best I've ran is
5 what?
5:48.
Good. My fastest mile time was 5:36. Right now was 6:36. Didn't help me much. Basically, did not help me much. But you know what helped me? Spikes. Spikes would help me. All right. Okay, Hannah, what did you get for big?
I didn't keep it. Talking about running.
You can't multitask?
No.
Oh, you better take out that music. Yes, I won that conversation. Won it. You didn't see that coming.
And she actually was more like that. She was on
Yeah.
her hand listening.
If I was still listening.
So then she lied because she said she can't multitask. Either way, still won the conversation. So we got x plus 5 over x plus 2. All right. So x plus 1 divided by x plus 2, all divided by x plus 1 over x plus 5, multiplied by the reciprocal. So we're going to flip that bottom fraction. So this can be x plus 1 divided by x plus 2 times x plus 5 divided by x plus 1. The x plus 1's cancel, and I'm just left with x plus 5 over x plus 2. All right, cool. Senior year, high school,
When did you run it again?
last week.
You should have raised the link.
Yeah, I might. Okay, C. Now C gets a little strange, right? Right, Justin? Okay, now this dark fraction bar is dividing it up into 2 parts. The numerator, which is x squared plus 4x plus 3 divided by x minus 2. Notice that's in parentheses as well. And I have that dark bar, which kind of really solidifies that I'm breaking it up at the right spot. And then 2x plus 6. Now, what's probably bothering you, Leah, is the denominator is not a fraction, right? Now it is. Okay? Remember, I can always put 1 underneath whatever it is to make it a fraction, right? So now what I'm going to do is this, Justin. I'm just going to kind of rewrite this. Does everybody see how I took it from this to that? All right, what might I want to do at this point? Very good. Do you know what that's called? Starts with F, rhymes with tractor. Factor. So we want to factor, okay? So at this step, we want to factor, okay? So Carolina's telling me I want to factor the 2x plus 6, and I also want to take the time to factor that, okay? So what are the factors, Carolina, of 3 that add up to 4? 1 and 3. So that's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 3 all over x minus 2 times, and then you factored the 2x plus 6, correct, Carolina? And you just factored out the 2? Right? So by factoring at this stage, kind of makes it easier. I like to factor here after I flipped it rather than here. There's personal preference. There is no wrong part on that. If you want to factor at the beginning and then flip it, I just find it easier to rewrite my problem before there's a lot more of, I guess, components. Now we see there's x plus 3 on top and bottom. So I cancel them. So my answer would just be what? X plus 1 over 2 times x minus 2. All right. You can multiply it out or leave it. Okay. It's kind of like whatever floats your boat there. I like to leave it, you know, further along. All right. How about you guys try this one? You could. Okay. Yeah. Put it in the front. See what happens. The way I look at it is the worst it could be is wrong, right? So like try it.
Yeah, I don't mean.
With that, hey, you did that right. Yeah, so flip that. So put the 5 plus 4x minus 2 on top. Yep. So remember, what you're doing here is you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So you're going to take the bottom fraction, flip it. So you're going to write times. And then you're just going to write flip this. Okay, and then you're going to try and factor it. Yeah. 25x squared. Yeah, that's one way to simplify it. Okay, but what I do is I look at 25x squared and the 10x squared, and I do the what goes to 25 and 10. Does that make sense? Yeah, now you're not wrong. Like you can totally do it that way. If you're doing it that way, then you would have to break up the 10x to like 5x times 10. Okay. Okay. I would stop right there. Hold on. All right. I would sit there. Okay, so start canceling there. Yep. All right, now I think a lot of people are getting stuck here. Right? So we're gonna have 25x squared over x minus 5 times 5 plus 4x minus x squared over 10x. We were able to write that. And then we got confused, right? No? You were good?
No, I was able to do the British method.
You were able to do the British
Then I got
method.
stuck.
Okay. All right. Julia, did you get confused here? What confused you about this problem? The x squared being negative. Now, it's okay that it confused you, but here's a trick, right? It's negative, right? So do you know how to kind of fix that? We've done it a couple times before. It's not like something we do all the time. Watch this. If this is negative, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what Lance did first, and I'm just going to rewrite it. And I think it's just going to make it a little easier to kind of deal with. Now, Lance rewrote it like this. Okay. Now, Julia's talking about because that x squared is negative, it's making it tough to factor, right? Now, there is nothing in the laws of math that says, well, why can't I just factor out a negative, right? So I can factor out a negative. All that does when you factor out a negative is flips your signs. Right? Look, -1 times x squared is negative x squared. -1 times negative 4x is 4x. -1 times -5 is 5. So when that first term, when that x squared is negative, you can factor out a negative to flip your signs so that now it's positive and you can factor. Okay? Now from here, what are the factors of -5 that add up to -4? Well, that's going to be x minus 5 times x plus 1. All right. So whenever that leading coefficient is negative, we're going to just factor out a negative to make it positive. All right. And all that does is flips my signs so that I can then factor. Make a little bit more sense to you now, Carolina? We can see what happens. Okay, I haven't done it that way, so we can certainly go ahead and try that in a second. And like I said to Lance, the worst that can happen is I try and it doesn't work. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Now, x minus 5, they cancel. Nikki Grantland over here, I heard you talking about, well, you can deal with the 25 and 10, right? So 5 goes into 25 5 times. 5 goes into 10 2 times. The x and this one would cancel. So my answer would just be 5 times -1. -5 times x plus 1 over 2. All right, let's just see where it goes now that you guys got this down. So we had a question here and it was, can I just do the British method? Well, let's find out. I don't know. Let's look. Let me try. Don't steal my fun. Okay. All right, let me erase this. All right. So we have 5 plus 4x minus x squared. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do what Lance did and just rewrite that. And then the British method said -1 times 5 was what? -5. Right? And what are the factors of -5 that add up to +4, right? And then there are none. So it didn't work. So what we really have to do is we really just have to factor out that -1. Okay? Any questions with that? All right, I like the idea though. Can we use the British method? It's a nice job on that. All right. Let's go ahead and try this one. All right. This one's probably a little easier. So the first step, Nikki Granlund, is going to be rewriting this as the numerator times the reciprocal of the denominator. Got that? We can't cancel out the 7 because it's part of like addition. So it's kind of, you can only cancel things out in multiplication. So like I can't cancel out like this -5 and that, right? So like it's got to be like the whole thing. Okay. All right, so here we have 5x over x plus 7 times, and I'm going to multiply it by the reciprocal. So I'm going to have x squared plus 8x plus 7. Now, I have to break it down into its components. So I need a factor. So I'm going to go ahead, rewrite my first fraction, and now I'm going to factor my second. What are the factors of 7 that add up to 8, Cody? Factors of 7 that add up to 8. So we're going to do x plus 7 times x plus 1. Now, Nikki Granlund, do you see how we have an x plus 7 and x plus 7? And its multiplication, I can cross that whole piece out. 5 and 10, that becomes a 2. That 2. All right. The number one mistake, Jay, is we're just going to forget stuff because it gets overcrowded. Okay. So remember to slow down, check your work. Okay, x times x plus 1. On bottom, I just have a 2. It would be, if you did that, it would be x squared plus x. Because we have to distribute the x inside. I try not to create more work than needs to be. All right. All right. Ed, how are you doing, buddy? You doing good?
Yeah.
All right. Ed, in this problem, what do I want to do to the denominator for starting? What do I want to do to the denominator here?
You want to make it,
A,
want to put the 3x as a difference?
all right, so the 3x minus 6, I think what you're trying to articulate is factor, but even before factoring, I want to make it it's another F word,
Fraction.
fraction. So we're just going to go ahead and put that over 1. All right. All right. Let's see where we got. Hold on. Got it? All right. What do we have? Like one more? All right. You guys start on the next one. Will I answer Jake's question? Where did I get the 3? 3 goes into 3x minus 6. Factor that out. So the x minus 2, we cancel with the x minus 2 up here. What are the factors of negative 10 that add up to 3? X plus 5 times x minus 2. 5 and negative 2. And then the 3x minus 6, I factor out 3. That would leave me with x minus 2. X minus 2 is canceled. Very good. That's a great question, Jake. It's missing not a numerator, but a denominator. Getting cold? Getting cold? Doing all right? Grantland? Lost in the sauce? So you wrote this? All right. So what goes into 2 and 14? What can I factor out of that? 2, 7 goes into 2? That was great. Perfect. All right, let me rewind that scenario for you, Mr. Grayland. I asked, what goes into 2 and 14? And Hansi goes, 7. And I was like, no, 7 doesn't go into 2. And you go, and so I go, what goes into, 2 and 14? And you go, 7. And then you go like this, then you go, I'm like, no. And you go, so am I right? All right, so 2 goes into 2 and 14. So I factor out a 2, okay? So I have 2 times x minus 7. Are you good with that piece? Yeah. Yes? No? You lying to me? All right. So Nikki Grant, 2x minus 14. What goes into 2 and 14? 2. So I factor that out. Okay, because if I distribute 2 to the x, I get 2x. 2 to the negative 7, I get negative 14. Okay? So that takes care of that. X plus 3, can't do anything with. So you just rewrote it. Now, x squared minus 9x plus 14. Okay? I need to figure out what are the factors of 14 that add up to negative 9. So that's negative 7 and negative 2. Because negative 7 plus negative 2 is negative 9. And negative 7 times negative 2 is 14. So I factored that. And now I'm going to cancel out what's the same on top and bottom. That's x minus 7. So I do that, and then I just write what's left. Okay? Any questions? All right, remember, the WebAssign is up. It's only 10 questions. Okay, but some of these take a little bit of time, right? So make sure you start looking at that. Maybe you look at it tonight, or like when you get home. I get it. You guys have a game, right? Start right after school. So you go home and then come back. All right, so maybe you start looking at this now to get a feel for it. Is yours right after school? Yeah, I know. So my advice, what I'm getting at is look at the WebAssign now, because if you have problems with it, like now, we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to deal with it before it's due. Okay? We all right with this stuff? All right.